to order. There will be two members not present this evening. Doug Holtz and Bob Bouldry both notified me they will be out of town. John, if you would formally take the roll, please.
I could do that. Joe Plankus,
Here.
Jill Doyle,
Here.
Linda Noss.
Here.
We
Mike
have a
Steele.
quorum.
Yeah, Mike Steele is.
Mike Steele is, yeah.
Right?
Mike Steele is not available.
Okay.
I've not heard from Mike, so I'm not sure if he's going to be here or not.
Okay.
Okay, we'll proceed with the meeting of the Redevelopment Commission for September 18th, 2023. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the meeting of August 21st. Any commission members have any comments or changes in regards to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'm open for a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Linda Nass.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. John, take the roll, please.
Linda Noss,
Aye.
Jill Doyle,
Aye.
Joe Plankus.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next item on the agenda are the claims for September 18th. Any questions or comments on the claims? Were a number of emails back and forth. I think those issues that were addressed were resolved. Do we have any other items for consideration?
I think we resolved those, but I think part of the confusion was we used to get the TAF bill and it would have the code GPRFP, so we knew immediately those were RFP. Can we denote them that way? It would make it easier, because these both kind of, it
I
uses
will-
specifically.
I will say I don't see the bills before they get to you because they don't
Okay.
come across my desk personally.
Okay,
But we do have a separate matter. So if you look at the top of the invoice, it should have a matter code that specifically pertains to the Grand Park RFP. So for instance, anytime that I spend on that, I bill to that separate matter. That's our term of art for like that,
Okay.
that separate scope of work, as opposed to the general redevelopment commission one. So that's,
I don't think these had that, but anyway, it was just
that's
different.
one way that you might
Okay.
watch for. Yeah. See the GN 133, that's specific to Grand Park transaction. So anything billed to that matter relates to the Grand Park RFP.
Grand Park RFP.
So what Cam is saying, and not just for RDC, for every issue that we are working through, it has a code with it.
See the,
And then right here, it says Grand Park transaction.
And that's the RFP where it says that. Is that what?
yes.
That's
Yes,
how it
Grand
was
Park
this time. Okay,
transaction is a
good.
Grand
So
Park.
that-
It
RFP.
was a little
That's-
different than we've seen before, but they
That-
got it all straightened out today.
Anything under that matter would be subject to the engagement and the not to exceed that was approved at the last meeting.
Right.
So
great.
West 14 is our client code for Westfield matters, and then under that, we've got multiple for various scopes of work. GN 133 is specific to Grand Park RFP.
So we had just chalked it up to human error that it didn't appear under costs advanced, because we thought that was sort of your word for the catchphrase for this is for RFP. Is that incorrect?
Yeah, that's incorrect. The only cost advance are for expenses, and specifically early on, they ordered appraisals for us. So the $40,000 that you saw a long, long time ago
Okay.
was them ordering the appraisals to value the park when there was still a potential sale.
Oh, okay.
Cost advance are just expenses that they incur that we are responsible for.
Okay, that's kind of how we got it, thinking, well, they're cost advanced. Thanks for the clarity. We'll make a note of it.
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Got a question on Crohn's statement. Quickly, the first one on this invoice, which is August invoice, under general, where it says includes meetings regarding options for refunding ban for Grand Junction Plaza and capital plan funding. A lot of hours spent on general, so do we know about that? When are we planning to do that ban? What are these other capital plan fundings? So I guess he's just reviewing.
This is
All the
work
TIFs.
that they've been doing across all the EDAs, the TIF areas.
Okay,
The ban refinancing is underway. So we're basically going through the processes right now of evaluating the best approach. That was part of Jim's analysis, working with an outside consultant. I think we're there. If we move forward, that's all part of the original ban process. So we just have to make sure we're selecting the right process, and I think we've done that. So that's what he did. He helped us identify, review the options that had been put in front of us, and select the one that was most beneficial to the city.
and so the refunding for the ban for the Grand Junction Plaza, is that going to be coming out of the Grand Junction TIF?
It will be coming out of a couple of different EDAs, yes.
So that's why we're putting this under
Yes,
general?
that's exactly why.
Okay, but we don't know yet, it's not determined yet.
We are studying that along with, as you saw, as you pointed out, the capital projects.
Yes,
So we're sorting through that capital list. So additionally, some of the capital projects are closer to some of the EDA areas than others. So that capital project will also drive some of those expenses from the proper TIF area.
okay, and is that kind of that capital plan, Jeremy, that you, okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, just wanted to understand, because it was a lot of hours this month.
Oh,
and
it
has
was.
been, so,
Him and Nathan put a lot of work into
Okay.
this.
great.
Okay, if no further questions, do I have a motion for approval of claims?
Linda Nass, I motion to approve the claims for September 18th, 2023.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion by Linda Nass, second by Jill Doyle. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. John, if you'll take the roll, please.
Jill Doyle,
Aye.
Joe Plankus,
Aye.
Linda Nass.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much. Okay, Matt, you're up.
Good evening, Commission members. Matt Trinian here on behalf of Grant Park, City of Westfield. Before you, first are contracts for ratification. I did send this out about a week ago and received some questions today in regards to some costs aligned with the two sponsorships that were provided. The question revolved around any legal bills committed towards the review of the two sponsorships that were a part of this month's process for ratification. I explained that these two sponsorships in particular did not have any review from a legal perspective, as they are a boilerplate sponsorship agreement. The only edits that were done were to the corporation name, the actual assets that we are exchanging, and the return for that asset exchange. So therefore, we didn't need to process anything with Taft due to that. So explain that. Just want to make sure that we were clear there that we didn't have any legal costs. The only costs per se that we would take on in incorporating these agreements would be the commissions to Legacy Sports Group, as they were actively selling these sponsorships, procuring them on our behalf. But beyond that, no additional costs. So I think that was the only question I received in regards to the procurement of those two sponsorships, but happy to take any additional questions that you guys may have.
Well, the other question was, a few months ago, we talked about getting a kind of an analysis of sponsorship revenues and then the costs associated with them, because when we got smaller sponsorships, we almost ate up all the revenue in, fees and costs. So have you put anything like that together? And I know with, pending what's happening at Grand Park, would that be good to have or
Yeah,
going
so
into whatever agreement?
William and I have worked collectively on a sheet of sorts that kind of lays all that out. He and I have that sheet. We'd be happy to bring that forward to a future meeting if that's desired. Maybe we'll incorporate that in our Q3 recap at the next meeting.
Okay.
But along those lines, I think any evaluation that we do as part of our regular source of business would be valuable to whoever moves forward with whatever the next stage of Grant Park looks like. But yeah, certainly something we take advantage of. I think what resulted in that original discussion was a smaller sponsorship that was insistent on having the sponsorship played out on their boilerplate, which is why we sent it to legal. We never want to put the park or the city in a position that leaves us in a negative spot. So as with all things that related to sponsorship on that level, if it doesn't fit our traditional boilerplate, we would involve legal. And we haven't had that issue since that last sponsorship or that singular sponsorship. And I believe that was Dick's Sporting Goods.
And similar to the user agreements, it's a good, efficient process. I think Matt and his staff, William and their staff, know that we have reviewed and are very comfortable with the standard user agreements and sponsorship agreements. So as long as we're abiding by, within the four corners of the document, they don't pull us in to spend any time because that's expense to you all. And that's the way we would want it as well. It's only if somebody is requesting a change that is not standard or not a business term, like how many fields or how long, or things that are much within their purview. Things we sometimes are called in to review things like changes to indemnification provisions or insurance or things of that nature. But they do a great job of keeping it all very efficient in terms of when we're needed and not. And sponsor agreements operate the same way.
Well, and that could come up for change based on what happens with management out there, whether that company would handle this, whomever it would be. I know we're still kind of in the dark on all this, or whether it still falls somewhere where we have any purview over it. I don't know, but just thought it would be good information.
Yeah, even as the review committee continues to work with the offerors and vet those proposals, that sort of ultimate structure of any future contract has not at all been determined. So in the meantime, in order to keep sponsorships, which often just trade visibility on certain assets around the park for dollars that can help defray the park costs, are just good ongoing business.
Well, and Matt did answer me today when I asked about the poor contract, so thank you for the response, because I didn't know where that was either.
Certainly.
Okay. Anything else on the user agreements, Matt?
I don't have anything unless you guys have any other questions.
Okay, I'm open for motion then for approval of the user agreements.
I'll make a motion to approve the user agreements.
Okay, I'll second that motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. John?
Joe Plankus,
Aye.
Linda Noss,
Aye.
Jill Doyle.
Aye.
Vote, motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Okay, Matt, next big item here is replacement phase 2 of fields.
Yes, so as I brought to you at our last meeting, we are at a point where we are ready to contract for the replacement of fields 6, 7, and 8. While reviewing, did notice one edit to this agreement that we'll work through, but at the very top, there's language here that says 4 installed artificial turf. It should be 3. So we'll work to correct that. But as we work through this process, the procurement model was the same as we went through last year, working through the AEPA co-op for procurement. The total cost of this project is just a little bit less than a $1.5 million project. I think I mentioned during our last meeting that the square foot cost went up just a little bit from last project to this project, and one, just material costs, but two, we also added additional lines. So as you see on the screen, we will be putting in our 11v11 soccer lines, which we did on 2 through 5. But we will also be adding football fields on 6, 7, and 8 here because those are the primary fields that are utilized for football, as we have goalposts out there. Right now, WYSI football utilizes those fields, and anytime we have any football-like activity, it takes place on those 3 fields. So to add the flexibility and the non-repetitive use of painting, week over week, whatever it may be, we decided that this model would be best for this process. The blend of turf is the exact same as we have on 2 through 5. and inside the event center. It's a more durable turf in our mind, allows for more play. With the amount of play we have and the type of play we have, we feel like this is the best model to move forward with. So all that said, I come before you to get the approval to execute this agreement pending that one change. But we're ready to move forward with that so that we can move towards the construction process of starting this December and having it complete before our first outdoor event in late February. And the payment model is one of which that we worked with the Modes Group again this year to delay payment until 2024, given the budget cycle that we're currently in. So again, a lot of consistency with how we went through the process last year. I received a lot of positive feedback from you guys in regards to that process, and the Modes Group was very accommodating in how we worked through that process. So I didn't feel a need to change much other than the actual fields that we're now replacing.
Okay, very good, Matt.
And I did review this contract,
Yeah.
as with the last one, which started with Airform, and we added not only state-required provisions like E-Verify and non-discrimination, but also enhanced the insurance requirements to be in keeping with what we require of users and other contractors at the park.
Right.
And indemnity provisions and important things like that. So I did have a chance to review this and ensure that all of those things that we added to the last contract are in this, and they are. So I'm satisfied from that
Okay,
perspective.
good. Thank you, Cam. Okay, any commission member questions, comments?
I should know this, but are these lit fields?
They are.
Okay. All right.
Okay, anything else? If not, open for motion for approval of the replacement contract with Mott's.
I'll make a motion to approve the replacement combined agreement for fields 6 through 8 with the change in section 1.1.1 to the number 3 versus 4.
Okay, thank you, Linda. So I have a second?
Second?
Okay, and second from Jill Doyle. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. John?
Linda Knopf,
Aye.
Joe Plankus,
Aye.
Jill Doyle.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much, Matt. Good work again, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, John, anything else for the good of the order, or Cam?
I do not have any additional business.
Okay, with
Not for
that, we will adjourn. Meeting adjourned at 6:17.
That's the same time as the last one.
Commission members, please stick around. I think John's got some paperwork for us to sign, or Marla does.